Let's see what's in the papers then and making the news this morning with the writer Emma Wolfe and the editor of Spiked, Tom Slater.
Morning.
Good morning. Good
back.
morning. Where's my list? Here we go. I've got a little list somewhere.
You've got a list. I'm going to question.
Oh no, I've got both.
On the front of the Express.
I've
I've been hogging them. Emma, let's have a look at the front of the Sunday Express, should we?
Yeah.
An Alzheimer's prevention jab.
Yeah, well, I mean...
Sounds too good to be true.
It does, and it's very, very exciting. It could potentially be a real breakthrough for a lot of people in this country. 900,000 people in the UK are afflicted by dementia. I should think it's more than that, you know. We know a lot of old people who are losing their memory and don't want to call it dementia, but anyway, and it could be up to 1.6 million people by 2040. You know, and we're all living longer, and this is a degenerative brain disease. So there's this new drug, game-changing vaccine, it's been called. And what it does is it removes those toxic proteins from the brain, these amyloids, that clump together, and that's what causes dementia. They're naturally occurring proteins, but they're not helpful in old age, and they cause the damage. So this is, again, it's one of those drugs that should be widely available in 5 years' time. It always seems to be 5 or 10 years away, doesn't it, with a cure for cancer or whatever.
So there's still some more human trials to...
There are, yeah, it's undergoing trials at the moment. There's a policeman who's been talking, a former senior police officer who developed Alzheimer's and is taking part in these trials. He says it's changed his life already. Oh,
right, so it will actually work for people who've already developed some stages of it?
Yeah, so he's undergoing the trials at the moment. He's part of this 2-phase trial, and he says it's transformed his life after 3 jabs. Which is very, very exciting.
That's amazing.
For people that have already started that process, you know, because you think, well, will it be too late or whatever, but...
And considering it is increasing and people are developing it younger and younger as well.
Younger, and living longer. So living longer with something like that for 20 years rather than sort of, you know, getting to retirement age and then having a few years left of life. But let's see, and also the cost and the availability. These are all questions that the NHS is going to have to...
Well, it's more pressure on the NHS, but this is where you need to prioritise. Yeah. I know it sounds controversial. I'd prioritise this over something like IVF.
I think you have to. I think you really have to. I mean, you know, we had a loved one in the hospital recently, and everyone else on the ward was suffering from dementia. Many of them very elderly, very lonely, no visitors. Absolutely heartbreaking to witness. It really was. It's just the most horrific way to lose someone you love.
Well, fingers crossed for that one.
Yeah. Tom, too much information.
Yes.
So I haven't told you anything yet.
No, in the breaks. There's a lot of TMI going on this panel. No, so this is a poll that's been conducted into TMI, too much information, and basically people have had enough of it. So about a fifth of Brits say they are often on the receiving end of confessions they would prefer not to have heard.
Oh, really?
And apparently Norfolk, the worst offenders.
Oh, well.
But that kind of makes sense when you...
How random, Norfolk.
I can understand.
Overshare in Norfolk.
Overshare.
There's an interesting generational difference.
What happened to you in Norfolk?
You know, that probably wouldn't do to mention that. But no, it seems like there's a generational difference as well. So the younger generation, this I found interesting, like Generation Z, are most bothered by it than older generations. But maybe that's because they're subjected to more of it in this kind of tell-all age that we find ourselves in.
I think it's because the younger generation, reality isn't what you share. You share a fabricated reality, don't you? With filters and Instagram and fake backgrounds.
It's a weird world, though, because, like, social media and WhatsApp and things like that, there are people that you barely know and that you have actually messaged endlessly. I mean, there are people that I don't think I've actually met in real life who are some of my closest friends, and you tell each other everything. So it's a kind of... It's a weird thing because we're separate, but we're very, very close.
Are we talking about social media here, or is it just sort of sitting talking face-to-face?
No one meets and talks.
It seems like a mix of things, but I think you're right, Steve, as far as that sort of gap, because the kind of caricature is that the sort of older Facebook users say will just kind of spill all and constantly put up photos and talk about themselves, whatever. The young generation is much more curated. It's much more about one often quite heavily doctored image, which they kind of will put out and broadcast to the world. So you can definitely see that difference.
Yeah. Oh, I don't overshare on social media. Because there's just so much... You put anything on, you think you can put something on that you think is nice and you get criticism.
And people are so quick to criticise on there. They say things on there that would never say to your face.
Social media can be really dangerous as well. The other day I was doing a TV thing and someone said they were going on holiday, and when we all just suddenly thought, oh, my God, burglaries.
Yeah.
You know, you have to think about what you're actually saying in the public domain.
Yeah.
You know, it's sort of funny.
Yeah.
No, now, the Sunday Mirror has I'm a Celeb winner, Giovanna something or other, who's friends
She's
with...
called Giovanna Fletcher. She is.
Fletcher.
She does this podcast about motherhood and babies and things like that, and she won I'm a Celeb in 2022.
Right.
But she's been talking about her friendship or her sort of acquaintance with Kate, with the princess, with Catherine, and she's been saying how lovely Kate is and how much she connects with people. She's been talking about her sort of dignity and her grace and her compassion and how she really seems to reach out to people, and that's why the news has affected so many. I think Kate is very, very beloved in this country. I think we saw that recently at the shock of her announcement and the sort of genuine sadness from people. So this woman has been saying how she remembers people, she remembers to ask after their children, and really cares about others.
Is this a friend of the Princess of Wales, or is this the princess?
Someone with a podcast to sell.
Someone with a podcast who has met the Princess of Wales.
I know. I think
she's so wonderful.
It's quite a tenuous link, and she's my mate Kate. That's why I said she's an acquaintance of her, because I don't think she particularly knows her that well. But she's everybody's talking about their knowledge of the princess, and this one is obviously another one.
Yeah, if you've ever been roughly in the same room as the Princess of Wales, you too can get a front page news.
Exactly.
In the same county, even.
It's like showbiz friends. You get a lot of that in the world of showbiz. I went to a party once, and it was full of everybody was there. Someone's birthday party, and everybody was there. And it's like, well, hey, I know the party boy hates you, and he doesn't know you. It was all that sort of thing.
Yeah.
But it looked good for the photographers.
Well, I met Keir Starmer last week, and he's now my best mate. And he's not at all. He wouldn't know me from Adam.
No.
But from that 5-minute meeting, he's my best friend, and I refer to him, on a daily basis.
My mate Keir.
Yeah, well, why not?
Next Prime Minister,
if he becomes Prime Minister,
we go way back.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm fascinated by this story, Tom. The Telegraph, page 6 story.
Yes. So this...
Is this more wokeness going on?
It seems like it. So there's Oriel College, Oxford, which has had a fair few of these kind of scandals in recent years. So it has a portrait of this 18th century Duke, the 5th Duke of Beaufort, who usually hangs in the library there. But because of the fact that in the background there's a image of a black boy, seemingly as like a servant or holding his coronet, that according to one source at the college, it's been removed because of offence or because of the potential for offence. The college has otherwise claimed that actually this is because they're undergoing works or whatever, but this particular source is disputing that. Oriel is an interesting one as far as it's been the focus for a lot of these campaigns. So everyone remembers the Roads Must Fall campaign, statue, which is still on the outside of the college there, and just this kind of preoccupation so much with, again, just the kind of objects and the historical paintings and things like that. The idea that just the presence of these things, which have been hanging in this library or whatever for quite a long time. And it's also it becomes this big problem because of the fact that often these, as in this case, an image of a former graduate at the college and benefactor, and now they're in this situation where they're having to kind of purge their own history because of what is the perceived offence. And I think that's the other really important thing to say. They're running scared of this imagined student who will be terribly upset by absolutely everything they see.
Yeah.
To the extent that those students exist, I can't imagine there are very
I bet
many.
not a single student's complained about it.
That's
probably
often the way
never
with
even
these.
noticed it.
They do it preemptively now, which I think is a really weird
ridiculous.
development.
We're down to about a minute.
Well, I'm nervously holding my chocolate egg on my
It's probably melted.
Terry's orange on my lap because I suddenly realise you're the Terry's chocolate orange obsessive. This has just been given to me by Aidan McGee, sports journalist extraordinaire, and now I can't leave it in the studio anywhere because you're all partly go for it.
He's given. We've all got.
Have you got better ones?
He's brought Easter eggs in for everyone.
Other chocolate eggs are available.
Yes, they are.
By the way,
can we just very quickly then look at this advert for an Exorcist?
Yes.
On the Daily Star Sunday.
Speaking of Exorcist.
Because apparently an Exorcist.
Oh, yeah, there.
Can't be that, can you? It's up 60%. So Exorcist and Ghostbusters, in particular, apparently in big demand. But you read some of the examples here, and I dare say this. They're hearing noises in the walls. Probably need an exterminator rather than an exorcist, I dare say. But yes, apparently more people are going to them looking for help with bangs in the night and things of that.
Has this got anything to do with the fact the new Ghostbusters movie is coming out?
It could well be, just puts the idea in people's head maybe somehow, subconsciously.
Call me a cynic.
Yeah, and they're showing the old ones on TV at the moment over Easter.
Cracking. Emma, Tom,
thank you very much.
Thank you. Good to see you this morning. Let's get a check on your Easter weather with Craig.